Hey everyone, it's Jack and Sam from Cultaholic.com. It's Wednesday morning, and it's a bit of a doozy of a news day, to be honest, Sam. There's some big
so
stuff.
hot outside.
It is hot outside. It's lovely as well.
But there's like, because we're in a courtyard, when we open all the windows and everything, there's no breeze.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't have a fan. It's just, in this studio, man. But anyway, we're going to brave it and bring you all of today's juicy news. I took it from you. Yes.
Let's have a look at the headlines.
Had to get the last line.
First of all, we take a look at reported news of major unhappiness with Vince McMahon backstage, including, potentially, from Triple H. Next up, Lars Sullivan has been fined for his previous controversial online posts. And finally, a new match has been announced for the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So there's really only one place to start, and that is with what happened on Wade Keller's Pro Wrestling post-show last night. Somebody called in who is reportedly a close friend of 3 WWE writers, but...
Okay.
In the sort of aftermath of this happening and the post going big on Reddit regarding what he said and everything, another Reddit post surfaced where they were claiming, no, it's just a random guy, it might not be legit. And then Sean Rossap of Fightful.com did a tweet saying like, well, I'm going to need to know this in full, but it does sync up with everything I've heard in the past. Okay. So because Sean Rossap is quite credible.
Yeah, he's a very reputable source.
I think we should at least go through what was said from on the call and just stress the fact that we can't confirm ourselves how legit this source is or not.
Yeah, the whole thing with sources is you never know. It's always going to be from one side of the argument, but it is sort of our obligation to report news like this if it does break. So, yeah. So,
I mean, there was a lot of things said. I've just boiled it down to the more sort of salient points. The first one is that basically, this is what he said, I'm summarising, but WWE's problems are not the writing staff's fault. No one should rip on WWE creative, this caller said. They have some of the most brilliant, unbelievable, cool ideas I've ever heard. We're writing for an audience of one, Vince McMahon, and never forget that. And if you do forget that, you're out of here. The most frustrated person in the back every single night is Triple H. He'll take especially the NXT guys under his wing. It looks like he's consoling them. It looks so much like he's the most frustrated person in the building every single night. And when I read that, I was like, that does sound plausible, because the difference between NXT's booking and the main roster's booking is crazy. The wildcard rule was not in the script on the morning of the show. We know that Vince likes to change things last minute on the fly. Various stories have reported that in the past. The Superstar shake-up changed week to week, and it didn't pan out how it was originally laid out months prior. Everything changed because Vince just decided to change it. Ooh.
Yeah.
The caller also emphasised that the problems, he again emphasised that the problems are not creators' fault, and that Vince McMahon is the person who sort of everyone's trying to pander to. He wants suggestions from everyone. Apparently he's always like, give me your suggestions, but 99 times out of 100 you can come up with an idea for Vince and it just won't be used. This is a pitch that everyone makes, fans and apparently the entire writing team as well. The entire creative team has pitched to have Raw and SmackDown look completely different with different production, be a distinct show. Everyone says that. A different way of shooting things, etc. But Vince always shoots it down. It doesn't explain why. Maybe just because I guess he's you know what, a lot of
it's the ease of production. Like at a high level production, if you have pretty much the exact same setup that's produced the exact same way, it's a lot simpler to train a bigger set of staff, and then if anybody's ill or if anybody needs to be released from the company or anything, everybody can work on that. So I understand why that one may be sort of shot down a lot. But in terms of a different look, I mean, Raw and SmackDown used to look so different.
Yes.
They used to look so different, shot in the same way, but looked so different. And that's all people want. I think it's just a different look.
Also, I think a lot of these might stem from the fact, if this caller is a legitimate source, I think a lot of this might stem from the fact that Vince has been the most successful wrestling promoter in the world for decades now. And if you encounter that degree of success and longevity, then you're gonna be very stubborn in your opinions because you've always met success.
And you'll be able to trust your gut to get you to the top the entire way. So
this one's, I think you'll find particularly frustrating. Vince McMahon doesn't keep track of what's going on with NXT. He maybe watches TakeOver.
I mean, there are shots of Vince backstage with Triple H. I don't know where they're from, if they're from Raws or TakeOvers or like main roster pay-per-views, but like, I mean, it makes sense in the way in my head that I think it was always the rumour that Triple H pleaded with Vince to get NXT off the ground. And it was very much his project and it was his thing to prove. But man, I mean, like, the thing is, Vince has already got so much production to worry about. It would just be nice if he'd get a weekly report.
The writers say apparently that he just watches WWE and works out in the gym, and is not aware of things going on in the real world. So That
Well, he's only ever watched his own product. We know that from a lot of interviews with people who used to work in the company. He only watches WWE. He doesn't watch any other promotion unless somebody's brought to him with like on a tape.
He doesn't even watch Wrestlers of the Week to get a nice summary of the indie world.
No, he doesn't, mate. I'm sorry.
The writers say there is no chance of Vince stepping down. I think we've all heard that one before.
Yeah.
The writer that the source, one writer that the source talked to said, "We're all working for Dana Warrior, and it's really awkward." When Neville walked out, there was a crazy shouting match, and he flipped out on Vince McMahon. That was the last time they saw him. But the writers praised Neville for being so easy to work with. That just sounds like a Newcastle lad getting frustrated.
Yeah, that is. It's just like you in the pub when somebody gets a bit too aggro with you, and you're just like, "Hold on,
oh!"
And you get right up in their face.
Ideas never pan out as originally planned, because writers always come up with stuff and then Vince loses interest after a week or two. I think that one sounds pretty legit, because we can see that happen on TV.
Yeah, pretty regularly.
Mojo as an example, or Dean Ambrose's heel turn, which changed week on week, the character that he was given.
He's got a new character now, mate. It's John Moxley, and he's
right.
back.
Okay. Shane, Triple H and Stephanie have all tried to talk to Vince, but it just hasn't worked, so... it seems like everyone else is kind of, it just seemed like a lot of the other key figures backstage in WWE are actually more on the side of the writing team, but they don't hold the power to change it.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. There's only so much they can do, and they don't particularly hold all of the cards yet, so...
Again, according to this source, this is all according to this one source, apparently Sami Zayn's recent heel promos have been kind of a vessel for Vince's opinions. That's not Sami Zayn's promos, that's Vince McMahon talking through Sami Zayn when he's calling the fans entitled.
Yeah.
There are 37 writers, and they are now working on both shows since the wildcard rule and everything, and the shake-up in recent weeks. The writers are now working on both shows.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like it's. I get there'll probably be structure, and there'll be a lead writer, and there'll be X, Y, Z, but man,
just a few left. NBC, Universal, and Fox both want the top stars. I think that might explain the wildcard rule if it's true, because they're both going to be like, I want Roman Reigns on our network.
There was a rumour floating around as well that Fox wants SmackDown to achieve 3 million viewers a week, otherwise it risks cancellation.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Apparently the Revival Uso storyline was being done allegedly just because Vince thinks it's funny. It is quite his sense of humour. And some of the writers think that Road Dogg will eventually end up in All Elite. Obviously, his old tag partner Billy Gunn is already in All Elite, and Road Dogg is currently on hiatus, and we don't really know why.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him going there, definitely.
It's a crazy story. Again, we don't know how true it is, but we felt obliged to report it just because...
Yeah, I mean, like, when you look at it like a source thing, this is all very not anti, but very sort of open,
it's critical
against WWE and Vince, and it could be stuff coming from people that have been fired, it could be stuff coming from people that are angry with the company, it could be all true, we don't know that, but, you know, once these things come out, we have to report them.
Yep. Fair enough. Right, well, that was quite a lot to digest there, so let's
opening point.
Let's just move straight on with the next news story. Next up, a follow-up to the story of Lars Sullivan and his recently surfaced, I guess, posts on bodybuilding.com, message boards from between 2007 and 2013, sort of. A lot of, I think the tone throughout was kind of bigotry. He was very...
Consistently.
He said some very controversial things about large, different groups of people, and it didn't go down very well, and it's sort of
understandably so.
Of course, absolutely. It's sort of the second time that it's gone viral, but this time figures in WWE acknowledged that they'd heard about it. Big E, Kalisto on Twitter. So WWE have had to respond this time. They fined Lars Sullivan $100,000 and ordered him to undergo sensitivity training. This comes courtesy of Alfred Kanua of Forbes.com, who apparently received an email, or I guess some sort of like press release from WWE. And if you read what he says, it's out there.
Yeah,
I don't want to repeat it, but it's not very nice.
If they are fully intent on keeping him in the company and they're not going to release him, then he has to be fined very heavily and sent to sensitivity training.
Yeah.
But I just don't know, I don't know if that's going to be enough for people in this day and age. I don't know if he's going to continually be booed. I don't know how they're going to reintroduce him to TV.
Yeah.
After all of this has come out.
He was on SmackDown last night, but not... It was a backstage interview segment, so we didn't get to see how they reacted to him in the arena. But I think he is on the road he is in the UK at the moment.
Yeah, he's in the UK.
On tour with
it's just, I mean, I know that $100,000 is probably his downside for the year. He's probably on, like 300 grand maybe. He's fairly new. Like a lot of the guys make, sort of not excessively millions and millions and millions.
Relative to the other big stars on the show, right.
So maybe like that is a fair chunk of his wage. I don't know, but it's just a very horrible, messy situation. It shouldn't have ever happened, really.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. But yeah. I guess it's just one of those things where we'll see how it pans out. We'll see how crowds react to Lars in the coming weeks. We'll see whether it fizzles out or whether there's a sort of an upkeep of criticism and negativity towards him. And we'll see, I guess, or we might hear rumours of how his fellow locker room members react to him backstage as well, because it must be very awkward at times.
I'd imagine it's very difficult at the moment.
Well, the next story, I promise, doesn't concern backstage activity in WWE. It's about the wrestling, damn it. It's about the in-ring stuff. Let's take a look. Next up, there's been a new match added to this Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but I believe it's on the pre-show. This comes courtesy of WWE.com. I've not seen it myself. Adam just told me about it.
Right.
So this comes courtesy of Adam Pacini. He's broken news. It's going to be a tag team match between the Usos and Daniel Bryan and Rowan, the current, obviously, SmackDown tag team champions. But I think Pacini told me it was non-title. That could be a pretty good match. Yeah. I mean, Rowan, to be fair to him, even though he's not as nimble or as agile or as experienced as the others in the ring, he does fulfill a purpose. He's a good big guy, I think. I like it.
And the Usos are always capable of having a great match.
Yes, and Daniel Bryan's all right.
Yeah, he's nothing to write home about.
No. Did you hear the recent story about the house show I think it was in Norway, somewhere in Scandinavia? Right. Apparently Rowan was just hugely over.
Really?
And Daniel Bryan was loving it. It's because he was on some TV show where they traced like Nordic family links, like your ancestors and stuff, and he was on the TV show like last year or something.
Because I think it was the first ever event in Norway. Right. It was that one, first ever WWE event in Norway. But that's, and I'm assuming he found out he had heritage there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, look at him. So. Apparently he was just hugely over the crowd, and Bryan was absolutely loving it on the apron. He was like, yeah, come on. Which is heartwarming news. I like it. We also have an extra news piece concerning All Elite.
Pew pew, pew 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 pew.
Too sweet. Wait, that's Bullet Club. They're not Bullet Club now. No. Oh God. So one of the things I like about All Elite Wrestling, and I don't want one of those people who gets too excited before they've even really done much, but they do seem to be hiring recognisable names, not just in ring, but from all over the place.
You've got recognisable road agents. You've got recognisable people working as announcers.
And now it seems as though they have announced some referees, including some recognisable names. So the big one is Earl Hebner. They've announced Earl Hebner, who is the most famous referee ever in wrestling history.
Hands down. I think, you can't. I don't think there is a single referee who's more famous. Certainly for
people who watched it in the Attitude Era like us. But maybe for today's generation, maybe it's like Mike Chioda or something like Lil Nate. But they also
Lil Nate actually. He's pretty.
I think Hebner's up there though.
Hebner's probably a little bit more. Just pips him.
He was involved in the screw job and everything.
Yeah.
Now they've announced 4 others, I think, and they're all sort of. They're all experienced on various bits of the independent scene, or in one case WWE as well. So Bryce Remsburg from Chikara, that's the other big name that I knew of.
Yep.
He is a very popular indie referee, and was also the referee of the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan match over WrestleMania weekend.
Okay.
So he was the one basically doing the match. He was the one performing and everything. Everyone seems to love Bryce. And he's, I think he put out a tweet I saw of being like overwhelmed by the response. He was like, "Thank you so much, everyone. This is great. So that's a nice story. Seems like a top bloke." PWG and Lucha Underground referee Rick Knox, veteran Ring of Honor official Paul Turner, and Aubrey Edwards, who officiated in the 2018 Mae Young Classic and also at WWE Evolution. So that's really nice. I'm glad to see the referees getting involved.
Well, there's 4 of them there that are going to be sweet, and then Earl's going to be great for a while, and then he's going to start selling knockoff t-shirts at the back of his van with his twin brother.
Oh no!
And it's all going to get really awkward.
All I want from Earl is for him not to be involved. I don't want them to get tempted to book a screwjob angle. I don't want Cody to put Goldust in the sharpshooter.
Can we have them bring Dave back and we'll have a double ref?
The twins.
Just pretend. Pretend like nobody knows who he is.
Was that the Hogan Andre story?
I think so, yeah.
Hogan dropped the belt on Andre because there was an evil twin ref. And the evil twin was Earl. Dave was the good one.
Yeah,
that was Earl's first. He was the bad one. Oh, God. Anyway, that's the referee news for All Elite Wrestling. And we'll keep you up to date with all of these stories should they develop further. And once again, I just want to stress, for our own sake, that first story was from one source, and we don't yet know how reliable they were, but it sounds plausible according to Sean Ross at thefightful.com. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter at Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.